The poor girl first set foot in the party of the upper class. This place gathers the richest and most famous people in Korea. The people who can enter here are not the young masters with a lot of money and property, but also the famous people in the business world. The things they wear are all luxury items and are all limited editions. Seol-ri looked at the life of the upper class. Thanks to her best friend's introduction, she was able to approach people of this level. Min-hae brought Seol-ri to a group of people. They were all rich people and each had more than 200,000 followers on Instagram. When Min-hae's three best friends saw the expensive designer clothes on Seol-ri, they immediately assumed that Seol-ri was rich. Min-hae also said that Seol-ri had studied at an Ivy League school, so the attitude of the others immediately changed from contempt to respect. A person who is both beautiful and smart like that must have a very good family background. Min-hae did not deny this and continued to chat. From beginning to end, Seol-ri had no chance to speak. At this moment, everyone noticed a girl walking over. That person's name was Si-hyun, also an extremely famous person in the upper class. Si-hyun was not only the daughter of a congressman with a 5-year term, but she was also the president of a large company. Si-hyun's total assets were estimated to be more than $1 trillion. But surprisingly, the real owner of the dress Seol-ri was wearing was Si-hyun. Someone in the group asked curiously, causing Si-hyun to not know how to answer, so she turned to look at Seol-ri. The feeling of being stared at by everyone made Seol-ri extremely embarrassed. Seol-ri's awkwardness allowed Min-hae's group of friends to see her true nature. When Seol-ri didn't know how to answer, Si-hyun suddenly spoke up to save Seol-ri. The other girls saw this and started asking Seol-ri if there was any way for them to enroll in an Ivy League school. At this time, Seol-ri knew that if she continued to pretend, her poor family background would definitely be exposed. So she frankly told the whole story that her family had gone bankrupt. Moreover, she had to drop out before finishing school. The other girls were all surprised when they heard this. The most embarrassed person was still Min-hae, because she had brought Seol-ri here. Seol-ri knew that this place no longer welcomed her, so she prepared to leave. But at this moment, Bin Imam came and slapped Min-hae. Bin Imam was the one who had just been refused entry to the party. Surely Seol-ri would not have expected that this incident would completely change her poor life. Bin Imam and Min-hae argued because of the rumors. From close friends to enemies, Min-hae also deliberately tried to not let Bin Imam attend the party. Bin Imam kept bad-mouthing Min-hae in front of everyone. Bin Imam even grabbed Min-hae's hair. Seol-ri stood by and watched Min-hae being bullied, and she couldn't stand still. So Seol-ri stood up to stop Bin Imam. This made Bin Imam angry, and she threw wine on Seol-ri's dress. The price of this dress was so high that even if Seol-ri sold her house, she wouldn't be able to buy it back. Seol-ri couldn't hold back anymore when she saw Bin Imam still scolding her. Seol-ri couldn't hold back anymore. Seol-ri immediately slapped Bin Imam hard. After that, Seol-ri said that a rich person who doesn't think will reveal his bad personality and lose face. It was Seol-ri's words that made Bin Imam the laughingstock of everyone. After Seol-ri finished speaking, she confidently left place. This incident attracted the attention of everyone at the party, and there was a man who would become Seol-ri's right-hand man in the future. After Seol-ri went out, she saw her dirty clothes and started to worry because she didn't have money to pay for them. At this moment, a man approached her. He introduced himself as Song Hyo, the creator of celebrities. After he saw Seol-ri's quarrel at party, he immediately realized her hidden value. Song Hyuk wanted Seol-ri to join his company, so he took her to the professional makeup room. This was a makeup room specifically for celebrities. As long as Seol-ri had more than 1,000 followers on her social media account, she would be able to enjoy VIP services here for free. Everyone thought this place was created to serve celebrities, but the one who benefited the most was the boss here, because many sponsors came to this place to invest. All celebrities need to do is take a few pictures with their phones and post them on Instagram, tagging brands or sponsors in the post. This way, the makeup company will earn a portion of profit. After Song Hyuk introduced the power of this VIP service, he took Seol-ri to the next room. This room was filled with expensive dresses from big brands. All celebrities with 10,000 followers on their social media accounts would automatically enter this room. Furthermore, celebrities could borrow clothes for free here. The more followers they had on their social media accounts, the greater the discount they would get. For example, this beautiful girl doing yoga. The yoga outfit she was wearing cost less than 10,000 won, but thanks to her, the outfit was sold for 15,000 won. In 30 minutes, she sold 5,000 outfits. Or for example, this girl only needed to post a simple photo, and the thermos in the photo attracted the curiosity of many people. Thanks to that, the thermos was sold very quickly. The more tasks celebrities complete, the higher the reward they receive. Therefore, in today's society, celebrities make the most money. After Seol-ri heard about the benefits of becoming a celebrity, she still found it hard to believe. She picked out a beautiful dress herself. After putting on the dress, she looked at herself in the mirror. Meanwhile, Song Hyuk stood next to her and took a few photos of Seol-ri. At the same time, he also expressed regret and told her a sad story, which was that Seol-ri's social media account currently had only 1,000 followers, so she temporarily did not have the right to borrow things here. Her greatest right now was to take a few photos. Only then did Seol-ri realize that the power of public opinion and the power of celebrities was too great. What happened today really changed Seol-ri's thinking. At this time, she also began to have her own desires. However, nothing good comes naturally. Because of caution, Seol-ri did not reply to Song Hyuk right away. But the two things that happened next completely changed her original intention. happen. The first thing was that So-ri had to pay for the dress she had soiled. The price of that dress was priceless because there were only 3 of them in the world. That day, Sehyun went to So-ri's mother's laundry. Originally, Sehyun brought the dress there to be washed, but So-ri wore it herself and soiled it. At this point, So-ri could only say sorry. She even took out all her savings. She wanted to pay the debt for that dress periodically, but Sehyun was extremely kind. For some reason, she refused the compensation. At this moment, So-ri finally felt the difference between rich and poor. The second thing came from Min-hye. Because of the incident that happened last time at party, all of Min-hye's news was being discussed by anti-fans. She was worried and wanted to quickly stabilize the situation. She was preparing to invite some celebrities to her store. Min-hye took advantage of her popularity to cooperate with them to sell products. As long as the other girls came by then, all the false rumors about Min-hye would be erased. But Min-hye didn't know that her friends were plotting to harm her. After the incident that night, they all didn't want to be friends with Min-hye anymore. But Sehyun thought about the situation. She said that if they didn't come to Min-hye's livestream, people would say that they were the ones who saw disaster and abandoned their friends. So it would be more beneficial for them to go. That's why they gathered at this cafe. After Min-hye found out that the others only reluctantly came to her livestream, she changed her target to So-ri. Because So-ri was the easiest to bully, So-ri was dragged into the livestream by Min-hye. Facing 20,000 people watching, So-ri was extremely embarrassed and covered her face with her hands. However, Min-hye didn't have any good intentions. When she was still in school, Min-hye was accused of looking down on her friends and was then isolated by the whole class. Because So-ri was in the same class as Min-hye at that time, in this livestream, Min-hye asked So-ri to help her explain to netizens. So-ri, of course, knew that Min-hye was lying, but she still didn't expose Min-hye's true nature. Next, Min-hye wanted the viewers to know that her friends were all celebrities, so she took out the cheap makeup from So-ri's bag to sell. The friends standing behind saw that the makeup was only worth 20,000 won. Only then did they understand that So-ri was not from a rich family, but that she was just a cheap seller. At this time, Min-hye pretended to feel sorry. Min-hye pushed the makeup into the cart for So-ri. Min-hye even lied that she had tried these products. Their quality was absolutely fine. Just like that, So-ri saw the terrible consumption on the internet for the first time. In less than half an hour, the inventory was sold out. After the live stream ended, So-ri felt like a clown when she saw the celebrities making fun of her. Only the kind Sehyun did not participate in their conversation. The gap between rich and poor made them look down on So-ri. Before So-ri left, Min-hye pretended to be kind and comforted her. Only now did So-ri know Min-hye's purpose in coming to her. Although So-ri had helped Min-hye sell all her products, she only wanted So-ri to help her clear her name. Because of this, the two of them had a fight. Min-hye stopped pretending to be kind and spoke contemptuously and insulted So-ri's poor status. Min-hye also thought that So-ri was jealous, which was why she was acting so unpleasant. After So-ri had experienced those things, she knew clearly the importance of making money. If she could become a celebrity, she would of course be happy. So the next day, So-ri went to Sung-hyuk to ask for a contract. Of course, there were some special requirements in the contract. So-ri had to cooperate with Min-hye. But when Min-hye saw So-ri, she angrily turned around and left. However, after Sung-hyuk kept advising Min-hye, she changed her mind and agreed to cooperate with So-ri. Then Sung-hyuk took out his phone to find So-ri's social media account. Last night, So-ri only showed her face in Min-hye's livestream, but that caused the number of followers on So-ri's social media account to increase a lot. This was a great opportunity for Sung-hyuk's company to make money. At this time, So-ri also walked in from outside. So-ri saw Min-hye's frustrated look and she was extremely happy. Then, So-ri used the excuse of business cooperation to reluctantly resolve the conflict between the two. Then they went to the facility built for celebrities. After 30 minutes, the two of them finished checking in. The celebrities who had laughed at So-ri and Min-hye yesterday were now extremely surprised by their appearance. But because the company had its own rules, everyone reluctantly welcomed them. After taking pictures, So-ri walked away alone. But at this moment, fans suddenly came here. Unexpectedly, these two girls were So-ri's fans, even though she had just opened a social media account not long ago. After the two female fans met So-ri, they saw that the outfit she was wearing was very nice. They even asked her where she bought the clothes. Min-hye saw this scene and felt jealous, so she quickly ran over and grabbed So-ri's arm. Min-hye pretended to be So-ri's best friend and talked happily with two female fans. Then, the four of them took a photo together. But after everyone got home from work, So-ri saw Min-hye posting a photo online. When So-ri opened her social media account, she discovered that many of Min-hye's fans had found her nick. In the comments, there were also many people asking where So-ri bought the shirt. So-ri immediately took the opportunity and picked 3 photos from the album and posted them on her personal page. So-ri also tagged the stores where she bought her clothes below. After So-ri posted the photos, hundreds of people immediately liked her. But So-ri paid special attention to an account named BBB Famous. In the following days, So-ri organized her belongings and prepared to sell products under the company's name. So-ri received an invitation from Min-hye. Min-hye invited So-ri to attend the fair she organized on Friday. Min-hye also emphasized that she had reserved a place for So-ri. So the next day, So-ri and her best friend carried a large bag and entered the fair. But when they actually entered the hall, So-ri discovered that she had been set up. Because the items on display here were all expensive, the price of of each item was up to millions of won. Meanwhile, Seo-ri only brought cheap things here. This terrible difference made Seo-ri immediately understand that she was tricked. Perhaps Min-hae wanted Seo-ri to lose face here. Seo-ri immediately told her best friend to quickly pack up. They had to leave this fair right away. But as soon as Seo-ri finished speaking, Min-hae's voice rang out from behind. Following her were a few more people. Min-hae said that she intended to ask Seo-ri to come here to help her with work. A poor person like Seo-ri had no right to be a guest here. Seo-ri was extremely angry when she heard that. Her hands clenched into fists. The people standing next to her did not forget to criticize the cheap items she brought. Si-hyun witnessed this scene and could not bear it anymore. She took the initiative to speak up to defend Seo-ri. Unexpectedly, Si-hyun's husband's younger sister Chae-hee spoke up to refute her. Faced with everyone's ridicule, Seo-ri tried to control her anger. She then tried to drag the large bag away, but when Seo-ri had only taken a few steps, she suddenly tripped. The fall immediately attracted everyone's attention. The crystal ball also fell out of the bag. The celebrities behind her saw this and started to gossip. At this moment, a young man walked in front of Seo-ri. He helped her pick up the crystal ball that had fallen on the ground. Then he said something that surprised everyone. "I thought you left me and left, but I didn't expect you to be here making a joke of everyone." Seo-ri slowly raised her head to look at the man in front of her. The celebrities behind her also continued to gossip. This was Jun Kyung, an extremely famous person in the financial world. Jun Kyung very politely reached out to help Seo-ri stand up. This scene shocked everyone who witnessed it. They didn't expect Jun Kyung to know the poor girl Seo-ri. When Seo-ri and her best friend left the fair, Jun Kyung specially arranged a car to take them home. At this time, Seo-ri was still trying to remember the contact between the two. They had never met after that night's party. Seo-ri warned Jun Kyung that from now on, they should not have too close contact. Seo-ri also didn't understand Jun Kyung's purpose. That night, when she returned home, she remembered what happened that morning. It turned out that when Jun Kyung helped Seo-ri stand up, he said something to her. Jun Kyung said that he was someone who didn't use social media accounts, but because of her, he opened one. Jun Kyung did all this just because he wanted to learn about Seo-ri. It was clear that Jun Kyung liked Seo-ri, but she didn't understand his feelings. When Seo-ri was about to go to sleep, she looked at her social media account again. The number of followers had increased from 5,000 to 9,000. There were many people praising her beauty in the comment section. At this moment, Seo-ri recalled everything that had happened before. Ever since she entered the celebrity world, she had been bullied and looked down upon by others. Seo-ri had become a laughingstock for the entertainment industry. Thinking about these things, Seo-ri became even angrier, so she made a bold decision. Seo-ri started using her popularity to say the things she had always tried to hide. She didn't want to continue being a laughingstock. Seo-ri hated people who praised her for being beautiful like a princess. It was obvious that her post was meant to provoke those celebrities. She was declaring war on those people. Seo-ri thought that after the post was published, her followers would increase, but it almost ruined Seo-ri's career. Many celebrities who didn't know the story started to scold her. They told Seo-ri to stop pretending to be noble. In addition, netizens also left very negative comments. Initially, Seo-ri had 9,000 followers, but now she has lost more than 3,000 followers. However, there were also quite a few people who went to the personal pages of the 4 people who despised Seo-ri to clarify the situation. In order to avoid an explosion of public opinion, the 4 people decided to hold a live stream together to announce to everyone that they didn't know Seo-ri. They also said that Seo-ri's post came from her jealousy and inferiority complex. Because Seo-ri wasn't allowed to join their group, she tried to bring down the 4 people. But they couldn't have expected that a poor girl like Seo-ri would become famous overnight. After Seo-ri posted an article denouncing the 4 celebrities who despised her, she was also scolded by fans. The company immediately came to her. Because of the status she posted last night, she lost 4,000 followers. Min-hae, who worked with Seo-ri, was also implicated. Min-hae couldn't help but scold Seo-ri. Seo-ri couldn't help but argue back. Sung-hye interrupted the two of them. Then he took out his tablet and found an account and placed it in front of Seo-ri. It turned out that because of the public outcry, someone had created an anti-fan account to attack Seo-ri. After that, Seo-ri also faced revenge from the fans of those celebrities. After leaving the company, Seo-ri opened her phone again. Unexpectedly, all she saw were anti-fan accounts. At this moment, Seo-ri felt that life was very unfair. She took the initiative to say hello to the BB Famous account. Seo-ri also confided in that person about this matter. BBB Famous also said that I already knew about it. Moreover, the current situation seemed to be getting more complicated. At this time, Seo-ri texted to ask if BB Famous's offer from last night was still valid. After sending that message, Seo-ri started to have hope because this mysterious online friend had said he would help her. At this time, Seo-ri was being smeared more and more. The celebrities were busy cleaning up their reputations. They even used fake accounts to attack Seo-ri. But before even a night had passed, the entire celebrity world exploded again. Many comments mentioned the story between those celebrities and Seo-ri. Unless a celebrity had more than 1 million followers, it would attract public attention. But Seo-ri was only a celebrity with more than 6,000 followers, so how could she cause such an explosion? At this time, netizens started to defend Seo-ri. Very quickly, social media exploded again because of the girl named Seo-ri. But now everyone agreed with her scolding those people. They also said that they had hated those people for a long time. They were also indignant that Seo-ri was treated like a slave and ordered around by those 4 people. Netizens all supported Seo-ri because after all, what she said was true. In just half a day, Seori's followers increased a lot. Jun Kyung liked her posts every day. This time, he even followed her. When she returned home, Seori knew that all of this was done by BB Famous. But when Seori asked about the other person's true identity, that person did not want to reveal it. In contrast to Seori's joy, the 4 people she mentioned in the post were very worried. Even though Chae-hee was taking a shower, she did not dare to turn off the comments. At this time, Chae-hee's hatred for Seori had reached its peak. Not only that, Jun Kyung also followed Seori alone. Chae-hee had secretly loved Jun Kyung for a long time. On this side, Seori was asked by Jun Kyung to go to a restaurant. He knew how much public opinion she had been facing these past few days, so he decided to help her by using his nickname, Princess Maker. Because he had dated girls from different backgrounds, he was nicknamed that by his fans. Jun Kyung also told Seori that he liked her. Then he even proposed to date her. They would try dating a few times. Then if they were compatible, they would date a few more times. With Jun Kyung's help, Seori quickly became the hottest celebrity. Her beautiful face and fashionable way of dressing helped her gain a lot of fans. At the same time, Seori was rumored to be dating Jun Kyung. This helped her popularity increase day by day. Her number of followers soon reached 90,000, and her company was surprised by the speed at which she became famous. In the next activity, Seori and a famous female blogger with 960,000 fans were paid a very high fee. The others were not paid. The day of Jun Kyung's promotion quickly arrived. Seori was taken there in an expensive supercar. When Seori got out of the car, someone opened the door for her. Even though Min Hye had been famous for a long time, she still had to take a taxi. At this time, Min Hye was extremely jealous of Seori, but Seori didn't care about Min Hye and went straight inside. All the people inside were famous people. Among them was an extremely famous actor named Yeon Woo. But when Yeon Woo was greeting Chae-hee, she saw Seori, so she immediately ran over there. Yeon Woo even took out his phone to take a picture with Seori. When Chae-hee saw how close the two were, she angrily grabbed the glass of wine in her hand and threw it at Yeon Woo. Not only that, Chae-hee also provoked and humiliated Yeon Woo. Seori really couldn't take it anymore, so she stood up to stop Chae-hee. Just when Chae-hee was about to hit Seori, Si-hyun appeared and stopped her. Because the people around were holding their phones to record, Chae-hee couldn't act rashly, so she left first. When the party ended, Seori went out and met Jun Kyung and Si-hyun. Unexpectedly, these two people had never used social media before, but they suddenly followed Seori. Si-hyun even wanted to be friends with Seori. After that, Seori's popularity increased more and more. The celebrities had no choice but to abandon Min Hye and wanted to be friends with Seori. Yesterday, when Seori met the 4 celebrities, she finally discovered the secret in this circle. It turned out that this was the secret in the Korean celebrity circle. Chae-hee walked into the nightclub in high heels. She immediately called for a few tables of wine. Under Chae-hee's instructions, the young men in the VIP room also received a new mission. This manager also enthusiastically instructed the young men to be careful. He told them to act like they were over 20 years old so that Chae-hee would choose them. Then she happily carried a suitcase and entered the room. But as soon as Chae-hee entered the room, the happy expression on her face disappeared. Suju saw this, so Chae-hee quickly went over to greet her. Suju wanted Chae-hee to resolve the conflict with Seori. After all, Seori was currently the hottest person in the industry, so the conflict would not be good for both of them. The other friends all agreed with this point of view. However, Chae-hee was not someone who would give up hatred so easily. When Chae-hee saw Seori here, she was extremely angry. In the end, the plan to resolve the conflict failed. But before Seori left, Suju ran to the door and called her back and said something strange. Chae-hee would calm down soon. After a while, her mood would be extremely good. At that time, Seori just needed to apologize to Chae-hee. Seori didn't understand what Suju was saying anymore. At this time, the manager came in with a suitcase followed by a few handsome guys. It turned out that these famous people often came here to use drugs. Moreover, they needed someone to use drugs with to relieve their loneliness. So the girls also needed to choose a suitable guy. When Seori and Suju walked in from outside, Chae-hee was no longer sober and had forgotten what had happened earlier. At first, Seori didn't know what was wrong with Chae-hee. Later, Seori was pulled in by Chae-hee to take a photo together. Then Chae-hee posted that photo on her personal page. This post made Si-hyun anxiously run to the dance hall. At this time, Seori looked at the surrounding scene. At this time, the state of everyone here was abnormal. She opened the suitcase on the table to see, but the thing inside made her panic. At this time, she also understood what situation they were in. Seori quickly pulled Suju out to question, but Suju said that they had to do this to enter the upper class. Seori did not expect that this was the upper class that they talked about. The upper class that people always dreamed of was actually this dirty. Suju said that because Seori and these people were of different classes, their ways of relieving stress were also different. At this time, Si-hyun also immediately rushed into the room. After Si-hyun saw the chaotic scene here, she hurriedly went to Chae-hee and deleted the photo and post. Seori was so scared that she also hurriedly left this place. When Seori just stepped out, she discovered that Jun Kyung was also here. It turned out that Jun Kyung also saw Chae-hee's photo. He misunderstood that Seori used drugs with the others, so Jun Kyung didn't want to date Seori anymore. Seori angrily shouted for him to stop. She was about to explain when a scream came from the room. A man had overdosed on drugs and lost consciousness. Seeing that, Jun Kyung quickly went to revive the man's heart. Seori took out her phone to call 119, but just as she was about to call, a man stopped her. This man was Jun Kyung's older brother, Taejeon, who was also Sehyun's husband. He was also the owner of this nightclub. Taejeon threatened Seori not to call the police. Even though she didn't use drugs, she was still at the scene. So, if Seori called the police now, her career would be ruined. In the end, after thinking for a while, Seori chose to compromise. After Taejeon's help, everything was quickly resolved. They helped the drug addicts out through the back door without cameras. The celebrities were put in the first car. Sehyun took Seori and sat in the second car. Finally, the ambulance was called. It was all Taejeon who secretly called the hospital director to arrange everything. After Taejeon and Sehyun returned home, Taejeon told his wife to find Seori to talk things out. Don't let her reveal this to anyone. Seori had just returned home and was thinking about whether to call the police or not when her mother saw her and quickly pulled her to sit in front of the computer. It turned out that a few days ago, Seori opened an online store with her younger brother and best friend. There were many fans who wanted to order her clothes. This also made her give up the idea of calling the police. The next day, Sehyun asked Seori out to talk. Before the two of them could say a few words, Taejeon brought Jun Kyung along. At this moment, the few of them looked at each other. Seori didn't know what Taejeon wanted to do. She only saw him take out a confidential file. As long as Seori signed it, she would receive a huge amount of money. This file was definitely related to drug use last night. It seemed that Taejeon wanted to use money to make Seori shut up, but Seori quickly refused. After Taejeon heard this, his attitude immediately changed. His polite words turned into threats. Right now, the most powerful people are here, and Seori was just an ordinary person. At this moment, Seori also felt the pressure from this upper class. When Seori was trembling and didn't know what to do, Jun Kyung stood up and pulled her away. In the elevator, Jun Kyung told Seori that the gap between reality and imagination was huge. He also told her to accept the truth. Because Jun Kyung thought about Seori's future safety, he decided to openly pursue her. Only then would she be safe. This scene was accidentally seen by Sehyun, who came out. She shyly turned her head back. Taejeon stood to the side and watched without blinking. But Seori didn't know that night, Jun Kyung had come to Taejeon and seriously warned him not to do anything to Seori. But in the following days, Seori's mind was completely focused on running the store. Because the sweaters were coordinated very uniquely, it attracted a large number of online fans who loved clothes. As long as the clothes were coordinated by Seori, there would be many buyers. The number of fans of her store also exceeded 100,000. But good things don't last long. Very quickly, Seori's popularity made those celebrities jealous. Even Min Hae chose to work with Chaehee's group to think of a way to harm Seori. This was the most famous fashion show in Korea. The guests at this party were all influential people. The guests were also arranged in order of rank. Those who invested the least were seated on the highest floor. On the contrary, the truly wealthy people sat in the first row. This division of seats also clearly showed the distance of status. At this moment, Seori walked in from afar with a special and charming aura. Everyone's eyes were instantly drawn to her. Seori was wearing a limited edition outfit paired with silver shorts. Her aura made people suspect that she was the model performing today. The girls who had a grudge against Seori were extremely surprised to see her come. But there was one thing that surprised everyone even more. Seori was sitting in the first row. Chaehee felt that this was too unreasonable, so she wanted to find the manager to ask for clarification. She did not accept sitting in the same row with a poor person like Seori. A week ago, Seori was still an unknown person, and she was still a toy for others to control. Seori calmly watched everything. How could the others have imagined that Seori could appear here, all thanks to Chaehee's best friend who did not come? It turned out that a week ago, Seori relied on her unique way of mixing and matching clothes to attract many fans to buy clothes like her. Thanks to that, sales increased extremely high. However, at this time, Seori's business started to have problems. After finishing work, Seori went to the place to get the goods. Even though she had negotiated to order 5,000 pieces of clothes in advance, today she was informed that they were out of stock. Even though she had the receipt in hand, the shop owner still used the excuse of lack of stock and ignored her. Seori's best friend's side was in the same situation. The 3,000 dresses they had ordered earlier were also out of stock. After the two questioned the shop owner, she had to say that the dress had already been exclusively purchased. Under Seori and her best friend's pressure, the shop owner had to say that the person who caused all this was Betazoom. That company was the largest importer in Dongdaemun. Moreover, Betazoom's owner, Hwan Lee, had personally come here to choose. Small businesses like them didn't dare to offend her. Now Seori was about to refund the customers. If she didn't handle this matter well, their shop would have to close. Seori hurriedly opened her phone to find Hwan Lee's account. Hwan Lee's shop was full of clothes that Seori had chosen. Moreover, they were exclusively sold. Seori immediately told BB Famous about this. Seori wanted to ask BB Famous if she knew Hwan Lee, but Famous replied that if Hwan Lee hated Seori, it would only be her bad luck because Hwan Lee was the biggest merchant. She often sold in large quantities. Even the owner of Dongdaemun didn't dare to offend her. Although Seori knew she couldn't get the goods back, she still followed the address to Hwan Lee's house. Hwan Lee was on the phone with Min Hae at the time. It turned out that Min Hae was jealous and had to find her to help. When Hwan Lee found out that profit she received was very little, she immediately showed her displeasure. As soon as Hwan Lee hung up the phone and turned around, she saw Seori walking in angrily. Seori cursed Hwan Lee as a coward because she only wanted to monopolize the clothes that Seori had ordered. Seori warned Hwan Lee that if she dared to do that again, again, Sori would not let her off. However, Huang Li did not care about Sori's warnings. Huang Li just turned around and continued playing cards with his friends. Sori went home angry. BB Famous immediately asked Sori if she had any grudges against anyone. Then BB Famous sent her the video. After Sori watched the video, she went back to see Huang Li. Her attitude became even more arrogant. Sori said she wanted to play cards with them. Huang Li did not know what Sori was planning to do, but when Huang Li saw the large amount of money Sori had, she agreed to let Sori play with her. Very quickly, 2 cards were dealt to each person. Huang Li looked at the cards in her hand and threw out 20,000 won. Sori did not even look and directly threw out 500,000 won. Huang Li followed Sori and she threw in another million won. Huang Li continued to follow, but Sori raised the bet to 5 million won. At this point, Huang Li was a little worried. Huang Li thought that this was just a card game, so Sori didn't need to bet that much money. But Sori said that she had to win. The price she just bet was the same as the price of the drinking service. When Huang Li heard Sori talking about drinking service, she realized that Sori knew her weakness. Huang Li stood up in fear and wanted to chase Sori away. Unexpectedly, Huang Li's worried look made Sori very happy. Then Sori turned over the card she hadn't looked at. The number of points on it was completely lower than Huang Li's, but this was also in line with Sori's expectations. Sori used the smallest card to win 5 million won from Huang Li. After Sori mocked Huang Li,